Hey, Future Soul here. Just wanted to, I don't know, just kind of explain myself because this video is definitely a lot older than it should be. I recorded this video immediately after I had first seen the Haikyuu movie Battle at the Dumpster a couple of weeks ago. I never got around to editing it because I was just lazy, and also, my channel is mostly based around video game stuff, but I completely forgot that I also wanted to do anime related stuff too. So this is another one of those testing the water things. I really wanted to talk about the Haikyuu movie because I really enjoyed it. So here's me just kind of ranting. I am just gonna give a little bit of a warning here that there's not gonna be a lot of visuals because copyright purposes, and also trying to get footage from that movie would be just a nightmare right now. So you're just going to be staring at my mug for most of the, video, but, just put me on in the background. It's just a little bit of a yap session about, my thoughts on the movie. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and let Past Soul take it away. Go ahead, man. What's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to the story mode. So, I'm gonna warn you of a couple of things right off the bat here. First of all, this is going to be a ramble. This is unscripted. I just needed to talk about this while it was still fresh in my mind, right? So, there's gonna be a lot of there's gonna be a lot of rights, there's gonna be a lot of just pauses here and there. Maybe I'm just gonna be thinking a lot. The brain's scrambled right now, but I really wanted to talk about this while it was still, for the most part, fresh in my mind, right? Secondly, this is not spoiler free. I'm going to be talking about anything that I can remember from this movie, right? Because there's really no reason to hold back at this point. It's been over a week now. Most people have definitely seen this movie by now. Anybody that is a Haikyuu fan has definitely seen the movie by now. So, there's really little reason to hold back. If you do not want spoilers, though, I highly recommend you go watch the movie first. But if you're here just to just kind of see where I'm at with the movie, as opposed to your own opinion, then that's totally fine. But just know that there are going to be spoilers, right? And then the last thing, this is mostly just, as a heads up here, unfortunately, for copyright purposes, there's not going to be a lot of shifts to the actual, scenes from the movie and stuff like that, because it's still in theaters. B, even if I could get footage from it, copyright is a demon on YouTube. So, maybe I'll throw in a couple pictures here and there. We'll see how editing Soul, how Future Soul feels about this when he's editing. So we'll play that one by ear. But either way, I already said the title, but you've seen the title and you've seen the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about Haikyuu, the dumpster battle movie, right? The first Haikyuu movie. Well, I mean, I guess, first real movie, as opposed to, the recap movies or whatever, but I don't really count those. But I just needed to talk about this, right? And this is another one of those experimental videos because, usually we talk about video games, but there is going to be that, occasional 15-20% chance where I do talk about an anime or something like that. And I kind of want to make that rise because I like anime a lot. That's obvious. You see two Gojos behind me, even though Jujutsu's far from my favorite. I do love Jujutsu. That's beside the point. But one of the things that I love so much with all of my heart is Haikyuu. Right, I could never ever get enough of Haikyuu. And there was a point in time where when I was younger in high school, I was kind of hearing a lot about it, and it kind of got on my nerves because you kind of run into those people, right? There's some people that is just like, oh yeah, no, this other thing is better than everything that you've ever known. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And when people will tell me that, I personally get turned away from it. It's just like, oh, it's better than everything I love. Cool. I don't want to go anywhere near it, right? And it's just a frustration thing. It's a petty thing. I don't know why I'm like that, right? But there was a point in time, it was definitely after, just a little after the pandemic, and my house was, kind of getting a little reconstruction done because, some flooding happened and stuff like that. So I had to stay in a hotel for a couple of months, right? And during that stay at that hotel, I was just like, I kept seeing that, Haikyuu would come back to Netflix and it was on its like fourth season or something like that. Again, this was like 4 years ago. But I was just like, you know what? Let me see what they were cooking, right? Let me see what they were up to. And let me tell you, man, every free second I was watching that damn series, bro. I was locked in from the get-go. The moment I saw Hinata do that insane, like, slide, that first slide he ever did on, like, unintentionally, I was like, what is going on here? Right? Because I had never really even, you know, paid attention to volleyball as a sport. I've never really looked at volleyball as a sport like that. But then I saw that, I'm like, what is this intensity? Like, what is happening here, right? And you know how it goes, man. Once I was locked in, that was it, bro. I fell head over heels for everything about that series. The writing, the characterization, the intensity of the battles, the music, everything about it was just so well crafted in so many different ways. The art style is just so fun. The characters are just so funny. They're just so fun to know. You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like a nice, like, step down from the usual intensity of regular anime, especially like a shonen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you watch your Jujutsu, you watch your Dragon Ball, you watch your faves, whatever. You watch, you know, your favorite action shonen, whatever. And, you know, you never know what's gonna happen next. You know, you don't know who's gonna get hurt, who's gonna be out of the battle, who we're gonna lose as a character. You never know what's gonna happen. But with Haikyuu, it's different, right? Because it's almost safe to call it like a comfort show, even, because it's just so, you know, they are, don't get me wrong, they are very intense about their volleyball, but it's a game at the end of the day. These guys are just playing some volleyball. These are just normal ass guys playing some volleyball as a high school club, and there's just something just so relieving about that, because at the end of the day, you know, there's no like evil, you know, there's no looming evil or something like that. There's no villains. It's just, you know, who's more determined about volleyball. And it's dramatic for sure. It's dramatized as hell, but you can't have a show without some drama, you know what I'm saying? So that brings us here today, right? I recently was seeing that, you know, the dumpster battle was getting closer, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe it would be good for me to rewatch Haikyuu for the third time because I, you know, wanted to, you know, relive, get back into that energy, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to get back into that Haikyuu mindset, you know? There's a mindset that, for me, I don't know what it is for stuff like this. I gotta be in the, I want to be in the proper headspace to enjoy something to its fullest, right? Maybe it's because I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff boils back down to that. I don't know what it is about Kingdom Hearts, but either way, rewatching Haikyuu and then going to see this movie was one of the best decisions I have made ever, right? I literally, just the night before I was at work, and I was thinking, like, you know what? I need to go see this movie now. You know, there's no more waiting. I gotta go just do it. Got my ticket for stupid early, buku early in the morning. I think this is the earliest I've ever recorded a Soul Side Quest video, fun fact. But I got my ticket, and I got to the theater, and I guess because it was early in the morning, not a single person, man, not a single other soul in that theater. And I'm like, I wonder, like, is that a good thing or a bad thing, right? It turned out to be a very good thing, because that movie had me fidgeting, jumpy, excited, loud, hysterical for the entirety of the film. I was literally, like, just moving a lot. I was yelling a lot. I was cheering a lot. And, you know, there is some experiences that you just kind of feel like you need a full theater for, but I'm so glad that I had the theater to myself to fully just be able to experience that movie and to be able to express myself, you know, alongside this movie, alongside them playing. It was such a ethereal experience for me today, right? And that seemed probably dramatic, I know, but, you know, it's not often that something like that comes around where you could just do stuff like that for something you're really excited for. And I'm very glad that I, you know, held off a little bit, let, you know, the theaters kind of, you know, do their thing, get packed with Haikyuu nerds, you know what I'm saying? Let them file out so I could have this kind of experience. And now that I've done it, God, what a time. God, what a time. Man. So, as far as the movie itself, no notes. None. Not a single. 10 out of 10. 12 out of 10. That was a godlike movie, right? And again, this is one of those situations where I'm so glad that I rewatched the series before watching this movie, because it's definitely one of those situations where you literally, it's just that you needed to be their situation. Because they don't hold back on references, they don't hold back on characterization, they don't reintroduce a lot of things to you. They expect you going in to know what you're watching, okay? And, you know, a lot of anime movies, you know, they don't do that as much, you know, when they kind of expect, like, a lot of newcomers to come through, so they're like, all right, well, you know, we gotta make sure that like, people know what's going on, or at least have a general idea, so that they can still enjoy the movie for what it is, right? And, you know, there are movies that have done that perfectly fine beforehand, you know, really introducing characters properly and things like that, like Demon Slayer, like My Hero, and things like that, right? But Haikyuu didn't do that. They said, if you're watching this movie, we expect you to know what's happening. So we're gonna lock in and hope you're here for the ride, okay? And whew, they did a bang up job. They did a bang up job. It really did feel like I just came from the last episode and I came into the real event, like what I've been waiting for, right? And it was strange, right? If you watch Haikyuu, you usually get the feeling of just like, oh man, like what are they gonna have to deal with next? Like what are they gonna have to put up with next? Like all these crazy, like these random, the twins, one of them with the cannon arm, with the crazy background music that they, you know, silence the crowd work and things like that, or, you know, these big tall guys that are just a full 2 meters. Like you never know what they're gonna go in with next, right? But it's weird with Nekoma, with Kenma, with Kuro, with Nekoma, you know what they're going into. We've been knowing them for a long time now. We've trained with them. We've seen them grow a little bit, you know? And because of that, it was strange. Like, they're at nationals right now, but it didn't feel like they were at nationals. It felt like two teams that love this game to death with an edge, you know? Like it's Kenma put it perfectly. They were playing a game, a fun game of volleyball, where there truly was a game over, right? After this, the third years are done, and, you know, they gotta wait till next year to, you know, get back into competition again, right? And it was just, it didn't feel as, is the word I'm looking for, like, exhausting? It didn't feel as rough as other games did, you know? But at the same time, it did. Because we know these teams. We know them, right? They know each other. And there was just such a different air about them being on this big stage together. Having to, like, truly fight each other. These rivals, you know? Seeing them finally go toe-to-toe, head-to-head. And it was so satisfying. It was such a different air, but a good air. And I love that. And we really got to see the culmination, right? This wasn't a situation where we were watching them evolve mid-battle like we usually do, you know? Speaking of, you know, on Kurasano, you know, this isn't a situation where we were watching them evolve mid-battle, you know? Of course, they were adjusting, you know, they were still having to get around, you know, Nekoma's defenses and things like that. But this felt more so than anything like a culmination of everything that they've learned, put to the test for the first time against somebody that knows them, somebody that they know, right? These are people that have literally trained them, seen them grow firsthand, right? These Nekoma guys, they've seen that, okay? And they were finally put up against it, truly seeing what they were capable of with all of their gears turning, all of their, you know, unique abilities and stuff, you know, not perfected per se, but like in working properly, in proper working condition. So it made for such a very interesting situation, right? And what a story it told, right? Especially because it focused a lot on Kenma and Kuro's relationship growing up, right? They're childhood friends. They've known each other since they were kids. You know, now they're in high school together, but Kuro got Kenma into volleyball, and you know, you learn about the relationship. You could see that Kuro, you know, he's not the one to, you know, just be too excessive about things that's, you know, he or the other person isn't feeling, right? And you could tell, like, like off rip, that Kuro could tell that, you know, Kenma had a little bit of an enjoyment when it came to volleyball, and so he was just like, yeah, we should play together. You know, let's get up in this together, you know? And he really brought Kenma a little bit out of his shell and found out, like, yeah, he likes volleyball. He doesn't like soccer, that's why I'm not forcing him to play, but I know he likes volleyball. That's why I force him to play, because I know that at some point he's gonna really enjoy himself. And so their relationship really shined in this movie a lot. I've grown even more of an appreciation for Kudo as a character, even more so than in the original series. You know, I still love Kudo as a character in the series too, but I've grown more of an appreciation for their relationship, his character. It really shined through in this movie. And I love that so much, right? But even more than that, you know, seeing it was so nice to see the parallels between Kurasuno and Nekoma, you know, Kudo and Tsukishima, you know, they learned together. They did that extra practice together to truly, you know, learn how to properly block. And it was just, you know, we were seeing all these miniature competitions go back and forth. It was just so satisfying to see their relationships on the court. You know, it was just so, it felt so homey, but so good. You know, it was intense but homey. It's such a weird blend. I don't even know how to explain it. But I enjoyed that a lot, dude. I enjoyed that a lot. But obviously, the biggest shining relationship, the biggest shining, you know, story, like plot to follow was absolutely the relationship, you know, developing between Kenma and Shoya on the court, because it was just so intense, right? Because, you know, Hinata made that promise. He said, I'm gonna get you to say you either had fun or I want you to get emotional over this damn sport. I want you invested. I want you there. I want you fully present. And I'm gonna make sure that when we fight next time, that happens, right? And when they like, because, you know, Kenma spent the entire time trying to shut Hinata down, right? He was doing everything in his power to get his team to shut Hinata down, right? And you could tell, like, yeah, this is working, this is good, but it doesn't feel right, you know? And it was just like a thing where he was like, I have to do this. I have to shut him down so we have a better chance. Otherwise, we might lose, right? And the thing about that was, it was a challenge for Hinata. It was really him saying, like, if you can't break out of this, then are we even really playing? And sure enough, because Hinata's him like that, he broke out. He did that. He said, nah, give me that ball. I still want it. And he finally got a handle on his high jump, you know? Again, something that we've seen already. But now that we're seeing the culmination of his practice, of his learning, of his, you know, his mistakes come full circle, come to fruition, to finally hit over that block, to finally be like, yes, you know what I'm saying? And him finally breaking out of that, you know, even though Kenma was exhausted, he felt it. He was finally saying, like, yes, like, okay, good. And then when Hinata got over that high block and Kenma missed the ball, when Kenma finally said, this is fun, everything, every single person went quiet. His entire team said nothing. And Hinata cheered. He was the only one. Hinata cheered like he won the game. That had me right here, brother. Hinata cheered like he had won the game himself. It was something different, man. It was something magnificent. Man, what a story. Because you could see them, they were huffing and puffing up against the net, man. You could see them, they were just like, keep that energy. Both of them, Kenma too, he said, keep that energy. And Shoya was like, you do the same. Whatever you got going right now, bring it on. Bring it on. Neither of them had any intention of stopping that damn game. Even Kenma, who had much less stamina than anybody else in that court, he was trying harder than anybody. And you could absolutely see that, right? Up until that final rally, which was it was a long rally, right? Or at least it seemed like a long rally, right? I guess actually it wasn't all that long, but, you know, it was one of those situations where, you know, you could tell it was the final rally. Neither side had any intention of letting up on that ball, and it wasn't going to happen. And the only reason it ended the way it did, it wasn't because anybody was completely off their play. It wasn't because of just some complete BS pull or anything like that. Nobody pulled out some new crazy move to overpower the other or anything like that. It was because when you're playing as the setter, you need, as you know, you need to be precise. You're calculating everything hard. You're calculating everybody, you're calculating everything on that court, you're taking account of so much, right? But you're paying attention to where the ball is falling so you could get, you know, a precise grip on it so that you know who to toss it to next, where to toss it to next, right? Kenma had the form. Kenma had everything under control, except the fact that he didn't take into account that the ball was more slippery. Because of how intense that final rally was, the ball was sweated up. And he lost the grip that he didn't know that he needed. And that was it. That rally would not have ended if the ball wasn't just a little slippery. And, you know, I had to really sit with that for a second, right? Because, you know, I started to sit with that, like, really? That's how this ends? But then Hinata, right? Hinata has such a good job. He does such a good job of really, like, pulling us in or out of reality at will. Like, it's crazy. Because he said, oh, okay, nice. What'd he say? He said nice receive or something like that. Like, the game was still going. The game, to him, it was not over. It was like, oh, alright, it was a mistake. Like, alright, cool. And then Tobio said, you idiot. We won. It's over. We won. Hinata said, no shot. Like, wow. Like, it didn't feel like it was over. Like, that game was so intense for him, it did not feel real that it was just over. And that was that. That was such a good film, man. And it was just it was so satisfying to see, you know, like that was what I was excited for, right? Because, you know, obviously, you know, this series, this follows Karasuno. I knew they were going to win. I just didn't know how, you know? And seeing, you know, I was waiting for this very specific moment where the game was over and they finally had like a free second to just kind of, you know, talk to each other, you know, team to team, rival to rival. And seeing the captains, seeing Daichi and Kudo be like, hey, you know, forget the base handshake, get over here, bro. Like, that was a forged bond. That was not just friendly that was brotherly love right there. That was like, man, thank you for such an incredible game. I loved this. And obviously, Nekama, Kudo felt the same. Everybody on each side felt the same. Like, that was just an incredible game. I mean, obviously, in my personal opinion, the best in Nationals. Easily. You know, we'll see what happens with the next team. But I don't... It's not going to hit the same, probably. Again, I haven't read the manga. I don't know anything that happens after this, right? I don't know what's going to happen when, you know, the two little giants face off, right? With Hinata and white hair, little guy. But this was a different match. The dumpster battle, this was the first, like, alright, we're back home. We're playing together. We're friends. You know, it's a more important game, obviously, but it's game on. We ain't holding back. Y'all better not hold back. We here. We on the big stage, just like we all wanted. Let's prove ourselves. Let's see what we got. And they did that shit, man. They did that. God, I'm so happy with that movie. That, like, I was dramatic walking out of that theater, man. I was crying hysterically on the way back, just thinking about that match. Like, dude. They both teams, they cleaned up. They cleaned up. Goodness me. Incredible. And that after credit scene was so funny with green hair giving him crap, you know what I'm saying? Pissing him off just cause. It's so fun. It was such a fun movie. Such an intensity that even in like some other anime you don't really feel as hard. But they did such a good job building up a connection with these characters, both, you know, for us as the viewers as well as the audience. Or I'm sorry, the audience. As well as, you know, just all of these characters were built so well. Each individual character has so much personality and so much spunk and so much flair that everybody feels like a true individual. And everybody shined in this movie, man. everybody. That is one of the best anime movies I think I've ever seen. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but that's how I feel about it right now. I enjoyed that to hell and back. That was an incredible experience, and I'm gonna watch that movie a million times over, man, because they did so many things right. One thing that I didn't really talk about as much too is maybe it's because it was the movie, right? Because they didn't have to, you know, drag things out as much, but they did such a good job emulating the speed of a real match this time around, more so than any other episode of Haikyuu. The speed of a real volleyball match, it felt so present here, right? I've been watching a couple, like, you know, like volleyball highlights and people, you know, doing like volleyball, like live action, like volleyball series. They've been doing their own thing, just playing volleyball with people. And things go by, like, it's very like Haikyuu is like disgustingly accurate with how people play, how people move, how fast the ball is, and just, you know, receiving and all that. It's so accurate that it's almost scary to see it in real life, because it's just like, wow, like, this is how they move. Like, this is like like they actually play volleyball, man. They actually playing some volleyball, bruh. And so they emulated the speed so well that the match felt even more intense, because you're just like, oh my goodness, like, that ball could drop at the drop of a hat. It's so quick, it's so seamless. From rally to rally, it goes by so fast, you never know what's gonna happen next. And it's just, whew, incredible, man. Truly a spectacle. This was the ultimate battle, in my opinion, of the ultimate offense versus the ultimate defense. Both teams did incredible. Both teams did incredible. Goodness me. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself when this series ends, brother. But I need to see another. If it doesn't end with another match between Nekoma and Kurasano, like in their college years or something like that, for fun, like they're just kind of playing one day, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But either way, this video is almost 30 minutes. I think you've seen my mug long enough. But I just wanted to hop on and say that this movie was awesome, man. And if you're a Haikyuu fan, you're doing yourself a disservice by not going to see it right this second. Seeing it in theaters is truly a different experience. And when it does finally come to digital and we're able to watch it whenever we want, I'm going to be watching that movie until the sun explodes, bruh. I'm going to be watching that movie till that thing in the sky, that big old ball of heat in the sky in space, pops on us. Because that movie is something else, dude. Something else. Incredible. But either way, that is enough out of me. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. And I want you guys to tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Do you like Haikyuu? Or do you enjoy this series? Did you watch the movie? Did you enjoy the movie? Or are you excited for what's to come next with Haikyuu? Or are you on the opposite end where you didn't like Haikyuu, this movie seems pointless to you, or maybe you have seen the movie and it didn't meet your expectations? You never know. So go ahead and tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.